Hello and welcome to SL Chennai Speaks Out Season 2. I'm Sanjay Pinto. It's almost become politically correct in our country to accuse the media of being sensational, of only going after TRPs, or being obsessed with TRPs and circulation and hype and breaking news. But just recently, the coverage of the Ayodhya verdict was perhaps a shining example of self-regulation and restraint. But before Ayodhya, the lampooning of the Commonwealth Games arrangements, and Suresh Kalmadi has become a favorite whipping post of everyone almost, where headlines were run on puddles of water and pieces of false ceiling giving way, on stains on bed sheets. Many believe the media went overboard. But that said, how is our coverage of disasters, from the YSR copter crash to the Mangalore air crash, to train disasters, to tsunamis and floods? Several questions remain unanswered. Or are journalists merely telling the story like it is? Is investigative journalism today an excuse for Peeping Tom kind of reporting, or for invasion of privacy, or several other excuses that journalists bandy about? Is the media today sensitive or sensational? That's our proposition. And here's our panel. R.K. Radhakrishnan, Deputy Editor of The Hindu. Joining R.K. Radhakrishnan is Mr. R. Bhagwan Singh, Consulting Editor of Deccan Chronicle. Both R.K. Radhakrishnan and Mr. Bhagwan Singh believe that the media is sensitive. On the other side, B. Jayashree, who is a former colleague, former bureau chief of Aaj Tak, and a communications expert. Joining Jayashree on the panel, a very senior journalist, Mr. K. and Arun, somebody who straddled the worlds of both print and television. Both Jayashree and Mr. K. and Arun believe that the media is sensational. Without much ado, on to our first round. It's called First Shot, where each of the panelists gets about 2 or 3 minutes to make their introductory comments, starting with R.K. Radhakrishnan.
I believe good reporting is to describe a situation very honestly and with exactness and with clarity, and to describe and answer the questions as to who, what, when, why and how, without losing sight of the larger narrative, the story in itself. 26/11, there was this huge thing about how the media went live when the NSG troopers were coming down, slithering down the slide, and then how it facilitated communication between the terrorists and their handlers in Pakistan. Excuse me? Don't you know the first lesson in handling a hostage situation, handling terrorists? Cut off communication lines. Nobody taught you that. What was the Director General of Police of Maharashtra doing? What was the In-Chief doing? What were the communication guys doing? What was the Home Minister doing, for God's sake? We were doing our job. You guys didn't tell us not to show those visuals, did you? You guys did not tell us how a situation had to be handled. We were doing our job. You guys did not come in the way. You guys did not tell us how to do something, how not to do something. You have to remember that I am a citizen of this country. I am as responsible as a police officer, as an in-person, as anybody else in this country. Are you going to watch good news TV forever? We also believe in the fact that the readers want a whole lot of things out of the media. And that's the basis on which we all operate. We give you the good news on Ayodhya. We try to cut out the audio when we think that something sensational is going to happen, and we only give out. In fact, ND, when Barka was anchoring, we made the decision not to air the audio when all kinds of advocates were coming out and trying to tell us what was happening. We did not have any news as to what the decision was at 3:30. Every single media channel was there. I think around 10,000 journalists were there in the town at that point of time. Not a single one of them, not one of them went on air to say that this is the verdict.
Thank you very much, sir. It's quite a stoic defense of the media. On to Bhagwan Singh next.
If I, as a newspaper man, if I'm not going to be sensitive to what the society should know, should not know, what should be projected, what should not be projected, in course of time, what happens is I become unsaleable. If day in and day out, if every day I'm going to merely peddle sensationalism, apart from the 1 rupee 50 paise or 2 rupees that you pay for my newspaper, what's more precious for you is your time. Half an hour, 45 minutes, in this kind of running race lives that we lead, the 10-15 minutes that even the 10-15 minutes that you spend on a newspaper in the morning, maybe sometime later in the office at lunchtime, you would not want to waste your time on a paper that's consistently peddling sensationalism. That's not giving you things as they are, news as it should be reported, truth. And that's the reason why when I was asked if media is sensationalizing things or if it is sensitive, I had no hesitation at all in saying that media remains sensitive, though some streaks of sensationalism sometimes creep in. That's like adding masala to a meal, but you don't just consume masala. It's just a little part of the meal.
Thank you, Babu. I know Jayashree is itching to have a say. On to you, Jayashree.
There may be a very small minority which gives information and news as it should be. But a lot of the media organizations have overstepped the lines of news and information and gone into the era of emotion and histrionics. And I think if you want to do emotion and histrionics, please start an entertainment channel, please do Saas Bahu serials, and please do soap operas. Don't come into the news media. This is a place for fact, not for fiction. This is a place for fact, not for emotion. This is a place for reporting what is and letting the viewer draw their own conclusions, not putting your perspective in place. And I have a few serious concerns about what is happening, especially in the era of human rights. When the media is reporting an issue related to human rights, there needs to be a lot more sensitivity than what is being shown on air. How do we deal with women who are the victims of abuse? It's no excuse to say that we don't know, we are just doing our job. That's not an excuse. You need to know. A media organization cannot isolate itself from society and say we need to know. Don't you know there's a war happening? Don't you know that you're supposed to be a little more careful about what you're reporting? Just for the sake of your TRPs, just for the sake of pulling in those advertisements, can you go ahead and report whatever you feel like? Should the army, should everybody else do their job for you? No. You're supposed to be learned, you're supposed to be educated, you're supposed to be taking information to the masses. You're not waiting there for somebody else to regulate you. You should regulate yourself, and it's really high time that the media put in a much stronger role for self-regulating the content on itself. Coming back once again to stress this point on issues related to women, children, marginalized, the media needs to show a lot more sensitivity and knowledge and concern on the way it is being reported, and I would like to give many examples to start with just one. When we have a victim, a woman who is a victim of sexual abuse or rape, there should be every effort to protect her identity. A lot of television channels or newspapers do nothing more than namesake protection. Very often you will find the victim's face masked, the parent's face not masked, the location not masked, the village completely, as mentioned, specified, identified, children shown. I mean, then what is the victim's, right to privacy? The media is violating many things, and I think, and I'm sorry to say, that a lot of it is in the race for the ad spend, for the money that is coming in from advertisers, and there is this completely wrong impression that the money comes in only if you sensationalize, that people want to know about bad news. I think people are much more discerning.
Does the public get the media it deserves, Arun?
Thank you, Sanjay. I'll just start by citing one small example. On 30th of September, that morning, there was a post on the Facebook by a 15-year-old girl. She happens to be my niece. And the post simply said, I hope the people of India will take the Ayodhya verdict in their stride and not allow the news channels and the media to make a big sensation out of it. This is the perception of a 15-year-old girl. And within 1.5 hours, there were 45 comments, and most of them endorsing what she said, the Commonwealth Games. You shove a mic in front of Suresh Kalmadi, and he refuses to answer Then the media says he is running away from camera, he is hiding. Sheila Dixit doesn't want to comment, she is running away from the camera. The Ruchira death case, when the convicted IPS officer got a bail, the channels say he walks free. Where is he walking free? The man has been convicted. The only thing is whether his the 6-month sentence that he had been given was adequate or not, and he has the right to be on for such a small duration of sentence. He has the right to be given a bail.
But time to slide into a short break on SL Chennai Speaks Out. When we come back, that's the round you're waiting for. It's called cross-examination. Stay tuned.